Good day, Prime Minister. I would like to ask you, Mr. Prime Minister, about the statements made by Minister Blanar, who said that we should forgive the Russians in connection with the war in Ukraine. What is your opinion on this, and do you agree?
Madam Journalist, look, I can say that when selecting the candidate for Minister of Foreign Affairs, I insisted that it must be from our core group. And I believe that Juraj Blanar, now I will not evaluate any specific statements of his. Because you would again twist my words, as you do on a daily basis. Quite simply, there are people who have their own sovereign opinions. I like that. He is not some parrot who would just repeat what you expect him to say. Today, I work very well with Juraj Blanar, and he has my full trust. I want to answer differently. I want to say that the war in Ukraine will end. And please, publish this. Do this for me. Publish how many German companies are still operating on the territory of the Russian Federation. Publish which Western countries continue to do business with the Russian Federation. Publish which Western countries are still massively buying liquefied gas from the Russian Federation. Publish it. A war will end. And together with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, we reject the idea of an Iron Curtain. Even now, symbolically, we are reaching out our hand across that Iron Curtain. So please, do not drag me into this ideological mud and dirt that you are spreading here from morning to night. SME, Slovak Social Democracy, as the ruling party, fully understands our membership in NATO and the European Union. However, unlike you, we also talk about the dangers. What will we do if they take away our right to veto? Will we go to Brussels just to hear what the Germans and the French decide for us? What will we do if NATO drags us into some senseless military adventure? Yes, we are member states, we want to remain members, and we are solid partners, but at the same time, we have the courage to speak in advance about what may happen and that we must simply be prepared for it. That's why, please, a policy of engagement in all directions is justified. The war will end and everyone will run back. All those who today scream no to Russia and are obsessed will run back.
The Ministry of Finance today published a forecast that expects a slowdown in the economy and significantly lower tax revenues than budgeted by about $1 billion. Are you happy about that?
No, I'm not happy.
We are asking you what you are going to do about it.
All right, but how did this come about? You are now asking the question as if everything was fine and yet the economic growth is declining. Madam Journalist, look at how the Austrians are doing. Just write it, tell all of Slovakia, make it a headline, that while Slovakia will have an economic growth rate higher than 1%, Austria is in negative territory. For example, and you know very well that as an open economy, we are inextricably linked. The Germans are now getting back on their feet only because they would also have been in negative territory, but they are pumping huge amounts of money into the arms industry, into rearmament, which is not exactly the cup of tea I would like to drink in the future. But we are completely dependent on global trends. Slovakia will be among the countries that will continue to have positive economic growth. And we know that we must now do everything to kickstart the inflow of even more money, especially from the recovery plan. Today it was confirmed that the application for the sixth payment, amounting to almost €1 billion, has been submitted and will be used in our economy. Furthermore, there is funding from the structural funds. During a meeting with the relevant minister, I added information that the structural funds should be fully utilized. So yes, the forecasts are very bad everywhere. You know, but how do you want to compete when we have the highest energy prices? How do you want to compete? I am now speaking about the whole EU, and on top of that comes this nonsensical proposal to stop the supply when it ends on January 1st, 2027. This is a nonsensical, ideological, harmful proposal, and I think many people realize this because I spoke about it both with Chancellor Scholz and with Spanish Prime Minister Sanchez. By the way, you journalists are incredible. You wrote a headline that Fico claims he telephoned the German Chancellor. As if I made that up or something. The American president often uses the argument that when you look at the structure of mutual trade between the United States and the EU delivers significantly more goods to the United States than the United States delivers to the EU. He wants to balance this with higher tariffs. Madam Journalist, when I talk about protecting Slovak national interests, I mean it seriously. The American president protects his own economic interests, and it's up to us, Europe, how we will respond. And as Prime Minister, I will always protect Slovakia's national interests. That's why I remind you again, I will not instruct the Slovak ambassador to the EU to join the vote on the 18th sanctions package against Russia unless we have relevant agreements and guarantees that after the cutoff of Russian oil on January 1st, 2028, Slovakia will be fully secured for all crisis situations, which will be so numerous that everyone will soil themselves.